everyone, welcome back to my channel and a big happy new year to you all. Not quite the ideal start to the year with everything that's going on in the world right now, I know, but it's nice to forget about it all just for a little while we're doing a little bit of crafting. And today I'm making this beautiful bow, which is a transparent bow. It's like an iridescent sort of transparent fabric. I can't remember where I got this from. I think I got it from a UK supplier, but they will have it on AliExpress, so I'll link everything that I've used in the description below this video. And I've also gone for this lovely metallic ribbon in the middle, just for a little bit of something different. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I did this on a separate video, because I've had people ask me how to wrap the cord around the centres of the bows. You can get like the suede cord, which a lot of people use, but I've used this ribbon instead. But it's the same method of how you wrap it around the centre, so I will do that in a separate video. So if you want to see how to do that, I'll link that at the end of the video. So this is the bow we're going to be making today, but we're going to change it up a little bit and we're going to be using red and gold. So these are the fabrics I'm going to be using. This is the transparent fabric that comes like this and has got like a film coating just to keep it nice and shiny. I've already got a little bit off cut, which I'm going to use up, and I'm also going to be using this red and gold along with these lovely red paper roses. And for the centre of this bow I'm going to be using this gold metallic ribbon for the centre. The bow template I'm going to be using today is the Beauty bow shape, and that is by Glitter on the Wall. They ship worldwide, so I'll pop a link for this template also in the description below the video. And I'm using the largest bow, so I've got the full set here. So you've got 3 different sizes, I think there is, maybe 4. And this template is 19 centimeters across the loops, or 7.5 inches. And the tails, which give you an idea of the actual finished bow, is 11.5 centimeters, or 4.5 inches across. But we're also going to be using these tails, which is for the 3.5 inch bow, and I'll show you why when we get to it. So beginning with our transparent fabric, which as you can see has got a slight iridescent sheen. I'm going to be taking my large tail template and I'm using a biro pen to draw around it. Like that, and then we'll just set that aside, and then we'll get our glitters. So my bottom tails are going to be red, so I'm going to use the bigger template on the back of my red and just draw around that. And then on the gold we're going to use the smaller template, but we're going to extend it a little bit. So if I layer this on top of here, that's a little bit too short, so I'm going to extend it. So I want it to be, I don't know if you can see that, I want it to have about just over 0.5 centimetre gap between this tail and the other tail. So I'm going to extend it around halfway along this centre. I'm going to extend it to make it longer. So I'm going to place that onto the back of my gold fabric. Don't worry about these marks on the fabric because you won't see it on the underside when we cut that out. So I'm going to draw as far as halfway, like that, and then I'm going to slide it. Make sure that's in line. And then we're going to extend this middle part and draw around the other half. So it's like that, and as you can see, when I lay this on the top, there's just around 5 to 6 millimetre gap either side, which is what I want. As you can see on this one, I did pink and silver. the kind of effect that we're going for. So we're going for the double layered tail look. So I'll just pop these templates aside and then we're ready to cut out our fabric. So beginning with our transparent fabric, you need to cut inside of that pen line, because obviously if you cut on the pen line you're going to see it, because on the transparent fabrics it's obviously transparent. So you need to take your scissors and just very carefully cut just inside of that pen line. Some of you may have a die cut machine and some dies you can use to do this part, but I always hand cut, and this is how I do it. And then as you can see, I'm cutting off that pen line, and then this part is nice and clear to make the bow. So I'm going to continue cutting all of this out and my two tails. So now we've got our 3 pieces cut out, our 2 tails and our loops, and then we've got our roses here, 6 roses taken out of the pack. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to layer this golden loop on top of the red loop. So for that I'm going to be using just normal hot glue. I'm just going to pop some glue across there like that, and then line that up onto the bottom tails. Now I'm not going to glue my loops as yet, because we're going to sort our roses out first. So taking a piece of red felt, I'm just going to cut roughly a triangle shape like that. You want 2 of those. So 2 triangle shapes. You don't want them too big, you want them fairly smallish. And that is just to hold the flowers together and also help to stick it to the loops. So these are around a 2 centimetre triangle. These roses, I got these from AliExpress, and they are around 15mm roses, and that is the reason why I'm using the bigger loops, because these are quite large roses, and when you put 3 together, as you can see on this one, that wouldn't have fitted in a 3.5 inch bow loop. So that is why I went for the bigger loops, the bigger bow size. So taking your paper roses, just cut off the stems. Don't matter if you leave a little bit on there, as long as that don't overhang the actual flower, and just bend it over to one side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to glue our roses onto these triangles. So I'm just going to pop some glue under the rose and just stick them in each of these 3 corners. The reason I use the felt is because it's just a lot easier that way to get these roses on there together nicely in a triangular sort of shape. And also hot glue and felt works really well together, because this transparent fabric, that does not work very well with hot glue, that just peels straight off. So with the felt, sticking the roses on the felt first, that just helps to hold them into place. So you want to pop your roses in like sort of a triangle shape like that. That's the felt on the bottom. We're going to do the same with these other 3. Next, taking your loops as you can see, you'll just fold them in half as you would make a normal bow. So you want the roses to sit here. So we're going to stick the roses on this end. So if that was like that, the roses will sit here like that. So this being the underside. So when you fold that over, the roses will be like that. Now I like to stick a single one towards the centre. You could do it this way round if you preferred, but I pop a single rose towards the centre and then two on the inside. And to stick these down, I'm going to use a mix of glue. I'm going to use a bit of my gemstone glue and a bit of hot glue. So beginning with the gemstone glue, I'm going to pop the gemstone glue in the middle of the felt. Just going to grab a pin to free that up a little bit. The reason I'm using gemstone glue is because this stick obviously shiny gemstones to fabric. So imagine this being an example of a shiny gemstone kind of material, and then this being the fabric. So that should stick rather well. So that's what I was thinking anyway. So I'm just going to pop a bit of this in the middle, and then I'm going to just use hot glue around the edge, and that will give it that immediate adhesion. So you won't have to wait for this to dry, because this obviously takes a lot longer to dry. So just a little bit of that in the middle, and then the hot glue along those edges, and then popping that where we want it. Don't stick it over this tab because that is going to be glued down, so a little bit away from that centre, around a ½ centimetre away. And as you can see, the hot glue is now holding that in place, whilst the gemstone glue can set on there and give it that extra hold. So do the same with the other 3 roses. So now we've got our roses stuck down, we're ready to form our loops. The glue I'm going to be using is this Gorilla Super Glue Gel, which has got the green lid. And I'm just going to place that glue in this centre. And then I'm going to bring these first loops over. Just line them up. Be careful not to let that seep out onto your fingers. You don't want to glue your fingers to it. And then I'm just going to grab one of these clips and just pop that on there to hold that in place. And then I'm going to pop some glue on the other tab. And then bring that side over, lining it up with the centre. Pop that clip on there, making sure that that's all nicely lined up. And when you flip that over, you can see how those little roses look inside that transparent fabric, and check that they're in the correct position. So we're going to just leave that to sit for a couple of minutes just to dry off. So whilst that's still setting, I've got a 1 centimetre wide ribbon, and this is cut to 14 centimetres in length. And the clip I'm using is this toothed alligator clip, and that is a 55mm clip for the bigger bow, and I'm going to use this to line it. So I'm just going to heat seal those ends, and then I'm just going to pop some glue just under halfway across that ribbon, and then starting on the underside of the clip on the grip part, start sticking that on there, push it in the pinch part and back round, and then I'm going to place some glue along this top edge, and then the last bit to fold under the clip. So that's our clip lined ready for our bow. Now this should be stuck enough for me to remove this now. I am just going to use hot glue on this now. I know I said that don't work very well, but just to hold it in place before we wrap the centre around, because when I wrap the centre around, that will hold it in place anyway. So I'm just going to pop a bit of hot glue in that centre, line up that bow, and that will just hold that in place enough while we add the clip and then wrap the centre. So I'm just going to place some glue along the top part of the clip, place that under the tails in the centre, and then to wrap around the centre I'm going to take a piece of red glitter and I'm going to cut a strip by eye around, it's quite a big bow, so I'm going to do around 12mm wide. And then I'm just going to pop some glue on one end and pop it in the centre under the clip, in the centre of the loops, and then wrap it around the middle of the bow. Trim off any excess if you've cut it slightly too long, just trim that off. Don't pinch the loops, just pinch the tails when you open the clip, because you don't want to flatten your lovely loops and your roses. Stick that down and that will hold that bow in place. And now we're ready to wrap the middle around the centre like I did this one. But I'm going to not show you that now. I'm going to do that in a separate video, which I will link at the end, because I want to show that in a separate video anyway, because lots of people ask how to do that part. But that is basically your finished bow, almost finished bow. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is the first one of the year that I've made, and I thought that this bow could be suited for the spring which is on the way. The pinks are nice for the spring. You could even fill it with some different flowers. You could buy some different paper flowers, don't have to be roses, because roses I think more associated with Valentine's. So you could use this for Valentine's or just as a spring bow. If you've got any questions, pop them into the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you for watching everyone. Take care. Bye bye.